Hey partner, I'm Barry, your pocket crew chief, the very first AI-powered mechanic for sim racing. Got a car that's a little loose or tight? Just tell me how it's handling, and I'll whip up instant setup recommendations just for you. Want me to get even more precise? Snap a picture of your setup, and I'll fine-tune it to perfection. And hey, I'm not just about giving orders. I'll explain why every adjustment matters, so you can really understand your ride. I'll even teach you the science behind the setup. Ever wonder why the track bar is so important? I've got the answer. With Pocket Crew Chief, I'll make you smarter, faster, and race ready. So what are we waiting for? Let's build to win.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Well, it's been a long 2 weeks, but we are finally back from bye week number 1 of our schedule. All the way in the southern half of California. The Spark Racing League is set to take on Auto Club Speedway for race number 4 of the Pocket Crew Chief Winter Series. Welcome race fans to the V-Speed booth, bringing you flag-to-flag coverage. My name is Logan Threlkeld, and alongside me, filling in for Sky tonight, we have the host of the Spark Mini Stock Series, Cam Gillens. Cam, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing fantastic tonight, Logan. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic myself. Well, Cam, it's the first time we've had you in the booth here for the season, but we've completed the first third of our schedule here. Now we're in the middle sector with 4 races until the next bye week in March. So far, no repeat winners yet, as Justin Wilson took home race number 1 at Daytona, followed by Dylan LeBeau for the second race at Homestead. Then once we made our way out of Florida, Levi Cox was able to take home the win in the cornfields of Iowa. Let's take a quick look at our next 4 races here on the books. Auto Club here tonight, set for 81 laps. The next week, the Crown Jewel of Darlington, the throwback race, where the top 3 winners top three finishers rather, will be competing for a cash prize as well as a best-in-class field for the paint schemes to receive a poster of their paint scheme on the night. Then we'll have Sebring, first road course of the season here, our only road course of the season, in a couple more weeks, followed up by Charlotte, then one more off week. Then it goes into the last three races of the Pocket Crew Chief Winter Series: Talladega, Las Vegas, and Atlanta. Cam, why don't you tell us a little bit about Auto Club here tonight?
So Auto Club is located in Fontana, California. Is 2 miles in length with 14-degree turns and 4-corner tri-oval. This track features quite a bit long ground of different grooves. You'll see some of these cars tonight go from groove to groove depending on how tight or loose the car feels. If it goes a little bit loose, you might see them go more toward the top of the track. If it's a little bit more tighter, you might see them go tick some of the lower grooves.
So multi-groove racing here on the docket for tonight. It's going to be a driver's race here. We've got quite a bit of heat on the track, sitting right around 100 degrees on the surface of the track. So the tire wear is going to be a big factor here tonight. But while we have a second, let's take a look into our points here after that first stint of racing. Jacob Bradley leads the pack with 91 points so far in the first three races. Has not won a race yet, but leads the point standings. Followed by Levi Cox with 89, Dylan LeBeau in third with 87, Braxton DeWeese in fourth with 83 points, Chris Smith sitting in fifth with 81, Ryan Rose with 80 there in sixth, Ellis Thomas 79 points, Max Koss 76 points, and then we have a four-way tie for ninth place between Justin Wilson, Evan Pienta, Chase Berry, and Chris French. But it looks like all of our qualifying efforts have been completed here tonight. So let's take it right down to our grid here, Cam. What do you say about that?
It sounds like a perfect time.
Let's get her rolling right here. Nice little blimp shot here from Southern California. But for our Evan Pienta Designs Pole Award, Jacob Bradley in the 50 with a 40.926 effort here tonight will win that Evan Pienta Designs Pole Award on the night. To his outside, we'll have Chris Smith in the 28. Second row will consist of Braxton DeWeese in the 15 next to Rye Jones in the 91. Behind them, Charles Wembley in the 3 with the 41.001 next to the 53 of Chris French with the 41.031. Johnny Rapp in the 52 will take the 7th starting position here next to Levi Cox in 8th. Last but not least here in our top 10, we have Justin Wilson in the 58 machine next to Evan Pienta in the 55.
In 11th place, we have Ellis Thomas in the number 8, and in 12th, we have Max Kost in the 63. In 13th place, we've got Brian Brobst in the 11, and David Hill in the 43 next to him in 14th. In 15th, we got Robert Brobst in the number 5. In 16th place, we got Peter Stewart in the number 94. Right behind them, we got Dylan LeBeau in the 26 in the 17th place, and then Clay Sampson in the 87 in the 18th place. James Dansworth in the 88th, 19th, and the round up the top 20 is Jay Heisman in the 06.
Just 9 more cars to go here on our grid. In 21st position, we have Sean Mulholland in the 39 next to the 99 of Tom Lickert. 23rd belongs to Rob Liedl in the 80 next to the 00 of AJ Maglio in 24th. 25th will go to Steve Best in the 60 machine next to the 4 of Nathan Gentry in 26th. Chase Berry in the 46 next to Jake Mackey with no qualifying effort from either of those drivers. And last but not least, the 42 of Paul Thomas will round out our 29 car field here tonight. Now, Cam, I know you got an opportunity to get down there and turn some laps. Not really amongst the drivers, but you're still keeping up with them. What can you tell us about how these cars are going to drive here tonight?
So what you're going to find out is first couple of laps, they're really going to be easy on the throttle going into the corners. And you might see the tail get a little happy, trying not to spin the tires. Like I said, the longer the run goes, the more tight as the tires start to wear off. So you'll start searching, probably go for a different line to loosen up, trying also not to spin out.
Race analysis up on the screen now. As mentioned, 81 laps on the board for tonight. Pit road speed of 55 miles per hour. 3 tire sets available, so that is 1 on the car, 2 over the wall, with 1 green-white checkered attempt at the end of this race if it's needed. 85% fuel load with the iRacing fixed setup here for the Vitesse Systems 162. These drivers are making their way through turns 3 and 4 here. We'll see this green flag come out in just a second as the pace car does come off. Barry the flag man with the green flag in the air, ready to drop as Jacob Bradley leads us into the Geico restart zone, and we're away here at Auto Club.
Looks like the 15 of Braxton Deweese gets on the inside of Jacob Bradley right there, trying to take over the top spot.
Good move already by the 15 of Deweese to put himself here in the lead for lap number 1 on the night. With 1 in the books, you've got a whole scramble of race cars behind these top 2 up here. Deweese, Bradley, Chris Smith, Wembley, Levi Cox leading the way at the moment, but it is an all-out battle from about the 3rd row back. Side by side still, finally single file out in the top 5. Levi Cox looking to make a move to the inside here of the 3 of Charles Wembley. Wembley high on the outside, Cox on the inside. Nearly 3 wide, a little bit further behind here. The 58 sandwiched in the middle, that's Justin Wilson, Daytona winner a few weeks ago. Max Cost to his inside, Evan Pienza there on the outside in the 55.
Looks like we're already starting to see some of these drivers go through different lanes trying to fix what their car is going to do.
There's the scramble all throughout the field still yet, trying to find the groove that's going to work. It's going to take some time, let these drivers get some heat in those tires, and then we'll see who has that dominant line available. Right now, the 26 of Dylan LeBeau currently sitting in the 14th position, makes a move to the inside of, I believe that's the 5 of Robert Brobst. Falls in behind the 63 of Max Koss, now takes the inside line here. Meanwhile, up ahead, Rye Jones on the outside. Apologize, that's the 8 of Ellis Thomas on the outside, making a move around the 52 of Johnny Rapp, looking to take a position away from Rye Jones as well in the 91. He does. There, Levi Cox, a big move to the outside to block Ellis Thomas from getting that run off of turn number 4. So 53 of Chris French stuck down there on the bottom. The 8 of Thomas looking to the outside once more. We have enough momentum to get around the 54 of Cox this time by. Cox is going to slide up in front now, shutting that door. Immediately drops back down in front of French. While back behind, it's still a battle back here just outside of the top 10. 3 wide now for Max Koss, Justin Wilson. I believe the 43 there of David Hill. Still 3 wide across the front stretch into turn number 1. One of these drivers will have to give up the position. It looks like it's going to be Koss on that bottom line. Wilson able to slot down in front. David Hill still hanging on to the outside line. Back up front here, 2x2, starting in that fourth row. The 3 of Charles Wembley makes his way side by side now with the 50 of Jacob Bradley, our pole setter for the night. Ellis Thomas makes his way around the outside. Nearly touching that right rear quarter panel. Charles Wembley forcing the 8 of Thomas way high up on the racetrack, but he's not scared of the line by any means. One thing you have to take into account here, Cam, that tire wear, running that outside line, it's just going to increase the more that you stay up there.
Yeah, it's going to create quite a bit more temperature in the tires. I know, talked to a couple of the drivers before the race, they were talking about the right front's starting to go away pretty quick on these, so tires will become a premium at the longer the run goes.
Again, with those 2 tire sets over the wall, these drivers have to play some sort of a strategy here to make sure that they don't use up too many sets before the end of this race. If we get down to the final couple of laps, those tires are going to be ever so important. So now we've got a challenge here for the lead. Braxton DeWeese, new paint scheme for him tonight. He's going to take that lead back. DeWeese back in front of the pack here. Chris Smith currently sitting in second. Ellis Thomas has made his way up to third. 8 positions gained so far for Thomas. Side by side back here for fifth between Bradley and Cox. 2x2 here for fifth and seventh. Rye Jones, Chris French battling it out. Further back here in the pack, got a battle forming back here around the 15th position. Right now, the 11, Brian Brobst, leading the way here, but he's got Clay Sampson, a new face of the league tonight, and that 87 on the outside line. It's not giving an inch right now. A big move behind from James Danforth in the 88. We'll look to the inside of Peter Stewart, another new name to the league tonight, making their debut. Tell you what, Stewart has one heck of a paint job, Cam. I'm really digging that Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Yeah, I love the all pastel colors on it. It really brings me back to like the 50s, everything with those old classic colors.
Really just makes me hungry for breakfast tomorrow. Back up just a little bit ahead, right outside the top 10. Johnny Rapp there on the inside, Dylan LeBeau on the outside in the 26. That Wonder Bread machine looking to make a charge up here to catch up to the 63, but even further ahead here, got a battle around the 5th place position. It's the 3 of Wembley there on the inside. Levi Cox to his outside, nearly door-to-door on the entrance of turn number 3. Got Rye Jones way high on the outside, still sticking with that line. Need to pay attention to that 91 machine, see if that line pays out later off in this race. Not a whole lot of good movement for Jones at the moment, down 4 spots from where he started. Robert Brobst back there in the 5 machine, currently sitting right at the 10th spot. He's up 5 positions, as well as Dylan LeBeau. Rob Liedl back in 16th, has moved up 7 positions since the start, but the biggest mover still Ellis Thomas in the 8 up here in the top 3. Braxton DeWeese continues to lead this pack here one more time by. He's had the pace all season long. We'll see if DeWeese can put it together to collect his first win on the season. I know for the 15, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, but he's got the 50 of Bradley all over the back bumper. Ellis to the high side once more, 3 wide now for 3rd place. Between Chris Smith, Ellis Thomas, and Levi Cox. Nearly contact there from Wembley behind. able to keep everything lined out just fine. Still 3 wide going into turn number 3. Driver's giving a lot of room there across that white line at that apron. Valuable real estate whenever it comes here. Contact with the wall out of turn number 2. Didn't quite catch who that was. I know it was a lighter shade, maybe Max Koss there in the 63. Been a bit further up. Still an all-out scramble here. Cam, so far, some really good racing. Is there anybody out here in the field that you're seeing that might have the pace to take home a win here tonight?
Obviously, with our points leader, Jacob Bradley, still hasn't won a race tonight. He's looking very promising as he's right up there challenging the lead with Deweese. So obviously, the 54 Levi Cox is always one to watch as they try to get his way up to the front.
I think I'm going to have to go with Deweese. I think tonight is the night that we see the 15 take the top step of the podium. He can keep this 15 out here in front of the pack, stay clear of all the potential accidents. Like I said, Deweese has had all of the pace in the first 3 races. I believe that is the Scrubbin' Tires Media paint scheme, a new debut here in California for the 15. Very good looking paint job there leading the pack.
Not a better sponsor than to debut here at Auto Club, which we probably discuss how much it scrubs the rubber off the tires.
That is a very fitting sponsor here for tonight. Auto Club, notorious for claiming the right front tire. See just how long these drivers can make it. A big wiggle there from the 3 of Wembley as he's door to door into turn number 1 with Evan Pienta in the 55 on the outside. Pienta with a little bit more momentum coming through the middle of the corner. Really get the run off of turn number 2 that he needs to get clear of the 3. And no, they're still going to stick side by side. Pienta with a little bit of an advantage, but just can't shake Wembley. Challenge up here for the lead now. Jacob Bradley on the inside of Deweese. He's going to get the advantage, but Deweese should have the momentum coming out of turn number 4. It'll be a drag race to that start-finish line. See who claims this lap lead. As it sits right now, it's going to be Deweese with 1 more lap lead. Bradley with the inside still into turn number 1. Still hard-fought battles all throughout the field. The 54 of Cox just can't seem to find the line to get around Chris French right now. Luckily, our top 6 have single-filed out. Looks like potentially the top 8 here if Chris French falls in line with Cox. Right behind the 53 of French, though, still side by side for Ryan Jones and Robert Brobst. 91 on the inside, the 5 of Brobst on the outside. Door to door once more for the lead. Braxton Deweese with the switchback out of turn number 4. He takes the inside line away from the 50 of Bradley. Holds it down on the apron there through turns 1 and 2. And just enough to slide up in front, but the 50, he's going to look to the inside into turn number 3. Just there at the rear quarter. He's going to get the advantage through 3 and 4. Meanwhile, Dylan LeBeau inching closer to the top 10 now, currently in 6th, or 12th rather. Rest of the field pretty well single filed out here. Super close battles on the field outside of the top 10. Pienta looks to make a move on the inside of the 28 of Smith. Luis Bradley still swapping spots lap after lap. Luis will have the advantage here coming out of turn number 4. And again, Bradley on that inside line through 1 and 2 will give him that position coming down the back stretch. Luis hanging it high out there on the outside, hugging that wall. Does allow the 28 and the 55 to get to the inside, just not quite enough to compete with the 15. With all the momentum that he has, he's going to take the outside here through turns 3 and 4. It is a brawl between these two. Trading blows lap after lap, Cam.
Yeah, just keep an eye on the 55 of Evan Pienta. Just keeps adding, coming to the board. Looks like he's our biggest mover so far in this race.
Got a new contact there from the 8 to the 50. Gets the 50 sideways. Is he going to save it? And it's not going to happen. That'll be our first caution on the night here on lap 22. Oh, big contact now. 50 end over end, the pole sitter. Takes a big hit from the 60. Steve Best just unable to avoid. Take her back here on the overcut replay camera and see what happened here to start all this. I know it was the contact between the 8 and the 50, but let's take a closer look. Coming out of turn number 4 right now across the front stretch, we'll see the contact made here. Coming into turn number 1 and 2. Big send on the inside there. Bradley just not quite expecting it. Barely a tap to that left rear quarter. Bradley nearly saves it. The 55 of Pienta gets mixed up in it. The 91, Rye Jones gets mixed up. And here comes the big hit. Oh, wrong camera. Take it back here. We'll take another look at this big hit now from the 60. All that smoke, it'll cloud that vision there. Tried to go to the inside, the 50 just moving at the wrong time, right in the line of the 60 of Vest. I believe I heard the engine pop for Vest as well, so Vest likely out of this race now. Let's take a look, go back a little bit further here. Take a look at the onboard with the 55 of Pienta. High on the outside here. You see the 8 making that move to the inside. He got a big run down there. Looks more like a net code issue than anything. Pienta checks up. Just unfortunately got collected there. Take it back one more time here. Looks like that's going to be the 3 there of Wembley. Not on the brakes soon enough. He's going to relinquish the spot of a couple drivers here tonight. I can count at least one. Be the 60 of Best, who's going to have some major repairs. Likely the 50 of Bradley, who took the big hit to the driver's side. There sits the 50 now in pit road, or rather the 55 of Pienta on pit road, getting some damage fixed. That'll be our first caution of the night, Cam. So far, so good. Not too bad up here. Braxton Luis benefiting the most from this. Be able to bring it down now, get a fresh set of tires on the 15 if he chooses so. Looks like the 52 of Rapp will make a visit down pit lane. 15 of Luis electing to stay out here. Rapp does come down pit lane. He'll be followed by, I believe, the 99. No, not the 99. Is that behind Johnny Rapp? That is the 99. Tom Lickert. We'll make a visit down here. Let's check in on the 50. Cynthia Bradley right there. He's got a lot of repairs to make, already over a minute in the box. Well, Cam, I think it's a good opportunity here. Why don't we pull up one of these drivers and see what it's like out here on the track. I'm thinking the 53 of Chris French, who's gained a couple positions here, put himself on the outside line for the restart. I take it back, the pace car lights are off. We'll hold on to that interview potential. Don't want to mess up Chris's restart here, as we're already down the back stretch. So we'll have DeWeese on the inside, French on the outside. It'll be the 5 of Robert Brobst on the inside in the second row. Max Koss there on the outside. The 28 of Chris Smith on the inside of the third row. Dylan LeBeau will take the outside line there. 88 of James Danforth behind. Next to the 87 of the newcomer, rookie Clay Sampson here. Last but not least in our top 10, we'll have, that'll be the 9. Yeah, that is, okay. That's the confusion there. On the board, as we're going to take the green flag here, Braxton DeWeese leads the way with a good jump from the bottom line. What I was saying there, the 94 of Peter Stewart will be displayed as the 94 on the ticker on the left-hand side of the screen, but the 9 on track. DeWeese with a massive jump. Huge advantage into turn number 1 over Robert Brobst. Chris French loses a position there. Back to a scramble back here around that 10th position. Dylan LeBeau able to claim another spot here as he's all over the back bumper of Max Koss. 28, Chris Smith looks to the inside now. Robert Brobst for second place position. Bob Liedl has made his way up 12 positions. Battling for the 10th spot right now. On the inside line there, the 54 of Cox, who's stuck in the middle of Clay Sampson and Robert Liedl. It's another battle up here. At the front, Chris Smith takes a look to the inside of the 5. Going to get the advantage here through the middle of the corner. See if he can close that gap up to the 15 of DeWeese. A little bit of a wiggle it looked like there from Brobst. Weiss down there on the apron, Brobst to the outside. He's gonna have the speed advantage coming down the back stretch. Shuts the door on DeWeese to get all of the exit that he needed. He's gonna get clear of the 15 going into turn number 3. Brobst in the outside wall, turn number 4. It's a 3-car race up here for the lead. Braxton DeWeese back in that number 1 position. Chris Smith is all over the 15 right now, Cam.
Yeah, it's crazy to see Brobst just keep hanging it out on the outside even after he just tapped the wall. Getting that momentum coming down the backstretch. Go out and take the lead from DeWeese.
So the high line seems to be working so far for the older tires. To see if DeWeese will recognize that and adjust the line that he's been running so far. We've got one down there on the apron across the start-finish line. I believe that was Levi Cox back there in 9th. Brobst still holding on to that outside line, getting the advantage on the corner exits. Ooh, contact there with 3rd place, Chris Smith. Able to line it back out there. I think these corner exits are going to be most treacherous to these drivers here tonight, especially once they get some laps on the tires. Start to see everything slick up out here. as the temperature has dropped exponentially. 77 degrees ambient air temperature with 85 degrees on the surface. A big advantage from what we saw in practice. Down about 15 degrees what we were just 30 minutes ago in the practice session. Don't look now, but we got another big mover up here in the top 5. That's the 26 of Dylan LeBeau, currently battling with Brian Brobst there for that 5th position. LeBeau on the inside line, nearly 3 wide with Chris French and Brobst. Now just doubled up here with the 53. The battle for 4th place. Still side by side for the lead. Chris French is now challenging the 15 of Deweese. Deweese finally making the move to that outside line. Looks like he's gonna bring it back down to the low line. Go for the crossover here on the 28 machine. We'll get side by side coming down the back stretch and look to the inside in turn number 3. Gonna put a big distance there between those cars. What you call breaking that side draft. You can get up to that rear quarter panel and hug that for a little while, then bounce away from the car that you're trying to side draft. You'll slow them up quite a bit. Give yourself the advantage. You saw a perfect execution of that from the 15. Chris French now falling back. Was up there in the top 3 for a while, now struggling to hold on to a top 5 position. It's the 11 of Brian Brobst. Let's close that gap now. 63 of Cost behind, battling with the 88 of Danforth. Levi Cox right there behind as well, ready to make a move on either of those drivers if they make a mistake. Back here a little bit further in the pack, around the 20th position, we've got the 8 of Ellis Thomas, who we saw up there in the front, battling with the 13 of Jake Mackey. Mackey on the inside. The 46 of Chase Berry just ahead there. Mackey will concede. Looks back to the inside line here. It's Thomas high on the outside. Back up towards the front here. Back half of the top 10. We're single filed out for the most part, besides Chris French making a move to the inside of the 26. He get the position here going through turns 1 and 2. He's got the line. Will he have the momentum out of the corner? I don't think he will. LeBeau keeping French on that apron. Single filed out all the way through top 10 positions. Just outside of it, Pienta makes a move for the 11th position. The inside of David Hill.
The Pienta must have not been too bad after that spin during that last caution.
Not a whole lot of damage there for the 55 to repair, and just a little bit of contact on the back bumper from the 3 sent him around, but I don't believe any more contact with any other cars. So best case scenario there, despite the contact that got him sideways. Pienta looking to make a good recovery, only 1 spot back now from where he started this race. Right ahead of him is the 80 of Rob Liedl. He's up 13 positions, as well as the 42 of Paul Thomas back in the 16th. And the 26 up there in 4th, Dylan LeBeau up 13 positions as well. Got a lot of big movers so far this race, and it's still very early, just nearing the halfway point of this race. Our top 3 finally getting some separation here. Chris Smith leading the way. Braxton Deweese right there in tow. And the 5 of Robert Brobst. Behind them, the battle is still fierce. This will be for that 6th position, 5th position even, with Chris French battling the 54 of Levi Cox. Oh, contact between French and Cox. Is it going to result in anything? Another big move. Oh, man, French just got hooked there from a loose car. And that's going to bring out caution number 2 that'll take us to the halfway point of this race. French holding it down here, let the rest of the field get by as he made heavy contact with the outside wall. Let's take it back here on the overcut replay camera and see what happened to the 53 to start all this. I believe I took this too far back. French on the outside here. We'll try this one more time. It'll be next time around here. So we're gonna click the button one too many times there, Cam. Let's try this again. So coming across the front stretch there, Chris on the inside. Cox makes contact, and then I believe that's the 11 there. Brian Brobst. He just ended up getting loose. Let's see here with the onboard of the 11. A little bit of contact there from the outside of Danforth and just came down the track. French is unfortunate in that situation. Saw another car that got tied up there with the 53. Is that Max Cost in the 63 that got messed up there? 53 of French hits the wall. It was indeed the 63 of Cost, so heavy damage down for the V-Speed driver. Max Cost already in pit lane. That could be a race ender. Well, we had the idea of bringing up a driver now for a quick interview, so unfortunately the guy that we were gonna talk to got collected in that, but what do you say we pull up the biggest mover of the night? Rob Liedl up 16 positions now in the 7th position. See if we can get him up here for a quick word. Rob Liedl, you got Cam and Logan up here in the V-Speed booth. You got a copy, buddy?
Hey, boys. How you doing?
Doing fantastic, man. I just noticed you're up 16 positions here from where you started this race, sitting in that 7th spot. You're doing all right so far for the 80 team. How's that car driving out here? What's the dirty air like? How's the tire wear going? We're halfway through this race. Give me some info here, buddy.
Well, let's see. Tire wear is definitely a thing. She's getting a little tight. My picker just told me they're finishing their ice cream down there on pit road. I think I might want to go grab one from them. Trying to save a little bit of fuel, but it's going to be tight. I don't know if anybody's going to be able to make it to the end except for those guys that maybe just pitted. But dirty air's dirty air. I mean, it's all over the place. You just got to kind of hang on to her.
Well, you seem to be managing that just fine. Otherwise, you wouldn't be up here in the top 10 from that 23rd starting position on the night. Now, you mentioned ice cream. I've got to ask, what flavor does the pit crew have down there in pit road?
You know, they didn't tell me. They didn't decide to share any of that, so I'm not sure. But I'm hoping that they at least saved me one for the end of this thing.
I think you're going to have to get back down there and yell at your crew chief and tell him you need that sort of information. You got to have something to look forward to after the race. But Rob, appreciate your time here, buddy, and the information so far throughout this race. Get you back down to your proper spot here, and good luck for the next 40 laps.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Rob Liedl there in the 80 machine. Some viable information for us up here in the booth, Cam. It's not too far from what we were thinking here. But overall, Chris Smith will assume the lead here. Brian Brobst to the outside. Dylan LeBeau. Apologize. Robert Brobst on the outside. Dylan LeBeau and Brian Brobst on that second row. James Danforth, Evan Pienza, Rob Liedl, David Hill, Sean Mulholland, Tom Lickard make up your top 10. Braxton Deweese did elect to bring it down pit road on that caution, so he sits in 12th with a fresh set of tires, a 16-lap advantage over most of this field. The green flag in the air, and we are back away here for restart number 2 on the night. Seeing some pretty big jumps from the race leader on these restarts so far. Cam, is there anything that you can say about how important that is once we get closer to the end of this race?
Well, obviously with the tire fall off, you could get a jump on them. It almost looked like a couple of those front runners just barely, almost looked like they had a little bit of tire spin. You might have seen with the number 5 of Robert Brobst there. It's like that Smith kind of got that big jump.
That we did. 1 lap completed after the restart. Braxton Deweese has already made his way back into the top 10, up 3 positions from that restart, looking to claim another one. And nearly 4 wide through turn 1 and 2. We were certainly 3 wide there. Ellis Thomas, he is not scared to send it deep into the corner. Heavy contact there on the corner exit. That'll be for the 5 of Robert Brobst. That's going to put him right in the mix of everything now. Thomas still able to send it deep into that corner. Oh my goodness, I think he just collected 3 positions through turns 3 and 4. Three wide back behind him. That's between David Hill. Contact for Hill and the 5 of Brobst. Bring out the caution flag once more here for number 3 on the night. And one more time, we'll take a visit here to the overcut replay camera and see what happened between the 43 and the 5. Three wide here coming across that checkered line. Hill just not enough room to go up, gets hooked by the 5. Robert Brobst gets sent down to that inside apron. Luckily not in front of anybody, so only a 2-car incident here. The 43 of Hill, he's going to have some heavy damage here to contend with. Definitely going to have to bring it back down pit road, get some fresh tires, get some of that damage repaired. Hopefully make a recovery here in this race.
Yeah, I wonder how much damage that the number 5 of Brobst got from sideswiping the wall. It almost makes me wonder if he bent a wheel that started putting him back to where this all happened.
Brobst definitely hit the wall hard enough to do some damage, at least to the tie rod. So keep an eye on the 5 here, see if he brings it down pit lane. See if he does any sort of damage repair. That would make sense. He went from a top 5 position all the way back to, I think, about 10th whenever that incident happened. Certainly slow after the contact with the wall, and he is going to bring it down pit road now. A good shot here is we're going to see a majority of this field all bring it down. Oddly enough, I think the 15 of Deweese is bringing it back down. He is. He just came down a few laps ago, likely topping off with fuel. Brobst able to make it into his pit stall. There's the 91 of Jones still in the box getting damage repaired. Currently sitting in the 26th position. He has an opportunity to collect some more spots here and make it at least a little bit better of a points day. Just about everybody off of pit road now. Robert Brobst certainly is getting some damage repaired now. Looks like our top 7, rather our top 8, all electing to stay out on the track. Chris Smith, Dylan LeBeau, Evan Pienza, James Danforth, Ellis Thomas, Sean Mulholland, Clay Sampson. only one of those drivers that recently brought it down pit road will be Ellis Thomas there in the 5th position. 6 laps on the current stint, 22 for the remaining drivers there. And it's fresh tires for the rest of the field, starting at Johnny Rapp and Nathan Gentry, both with 5 laps on their tires. It's like they brought it down for fuel, as well as majority of the field. Brian Brobst taking some tires. Levi Cox looks like he took Cox back into pit road now. You can scratch my thought process there. Be interesting to see if these drivers up here in the top 10 will have enough to make it to the end of this race on fuel. 85% fuel load on these cars. Chris DeWeese in the chat with some important information there for the 15 machine. Fuel only on that last pit stop. Makes sense. No reason to take any tires there. Just got fresh tires last time by. Weiss did lose 1 position on that pit cycle there. Went from 9th to 10th, so he's got a couple cars to battle before he's back up in the lead. Keep an eye on that 15. Right now, Chris Smith, Dylan LeBeau make up the front row coming into this restart. Into turn 3 and 4, we'll see this field stack back up here, bumper to bumper. But with how the other restarts have gone, I expect to see the 28 get a massive jump into turn number 1. Pace car is off, and we will be back away here. Barry the flag man with the green flag in hand. And we're back away. Chris Smith takes the green flag here on the inside line, and just as I thought, a good jump here, but we've got one coming up in the back. He's going to have a lot of momentum here. Will he be able to catch up to the pack in turn number 1? Nearly contact back a little bit further there for the 52. I can find the right buttons here. We'll take a look here. Sean Mulholland in front of Johnny Rapp. Nearly contact there on the entrance of turn number 1. Mulholland on the inside. Of Sampson on the inside of Johnny Rapp here. That's battle for 6th, side by side. Battle for the lead here between Ellis Thomas and Chris Smith. Thomas with a big run on the outside. He's going to get all the advantage that he wanted there. Be well clear by 2 car lengths coming down the back stretch into turn number 3. Evan Pienta behind, looking to the inside of Dylan LeBeau. Not enough time there, but Johnny Rapp comes around the outside. Will he be able to get around the 26 machine as well? Rapp really picking it up here in the back half of the race. Those fresh tires proving that they're important. Nearly a 20-lap difference between the 26 and the 52. Also explains why Ellis Thomas has such an advantage over the 28. So he's got nearly a 20-lap difference between the 8 and the 28. Johnny Rapp now up here in the top 2 as he made a pass around Chris Smith. That's a battle just behind between the 58 of Wilson and the 55 of Pienta. Danforth right behind on the inside line. Gentry high up on the outside against the wall. Braxton DeWeese fading outside of the top 10 for the moment. Give him a couple laps, get some heat in those tires. See that 15 machine make a charge up to the front once more. Still side by side for LeBeau and Wilson. Wilson finally with the advantage. Those tires certainly coming into play. Thomas has run away now. Johnny Rapp in tow. Nearly a second and a half separating second and third. Nearly 2 seconds separating third and first. Hop on board here with the 26 of LeBeau. He's fallen out of that top 2 spot. Tires not playing in his favor by any means right now. He will have that extra set available at the end of this race. Could be ever so important coming to the final laps here. A battle right in front between Smith and Brobst. Brobst able to drive away with the momentum on that high side and the tire advantage up 22 laps. Those fresh tires from that last pit stop all starting to cycle up towards the front.
Seems like Brobst is one of the ones that can, regardless if he has older tires or newer tires, be able to go do any of the lines on the track. Majority of the time you see him almost up towards the wall.
That's one thing you can't be scared of here, is to switch up the line and try something different. Right now, Chase Berry is our biggest mover of the race. He's found what works out for him in that 46 machine, up 20 positions so far. Berry settles in between Cox and LeBeau. Peter Stewart right behind in that Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Man, that makes me hungry every time I see that 9 car. We'll look to the inside of LeBeau now.
It's either that or that Wonder Bread 26. It sounds like a breakfast lunch there.
Got the mixture of peanut butter toast and Cinnamon Toast Crunch. It sounds like a fantastic breakfast to me if you throw in some chocolate milk. Berry has made his way up to 6th place now, so he was able to get around LeBeau with ease. Apologize, Chris Smith with ease. Peter Stewart following in line with the 46. He sees that line is working, and he's going to follow it. Levi Cox down there on the apron. Johnny Rapp has closed that gap now to the 8 of Ellis. Tire wear for the Ellis machine, Ellis Thomas that is, starting to come into play here. It was a half-second difference between first and second. Now it seems like Johnny Rapp has got the momentum working on that bottom line. He starts to slide up through turn number 4, gets up close to the wall on the exit. So we're set to start lap number 57. Big battle back here around the 12th position. Braxton Luis finally finding some momentum here, some separation from these other cars. He'll take a look to the 87 on the inside, Clay Sampson. There's one thing I have to say, Cam, about Luis. He's very methodical about making his passes and choosing the right times to do it. There's a lot of skill behind the wheel of that 15.
Sure is. It's like, as we're seeing multiple incidents tonight, that if you're not very methodic and just kind of dart out in there, you might tag one of these other drivers and each other's nights.
Luis does get the advantage coming out of turn number 2 over Sampson. He'll claim that spot for now. Got Danforth right behind helping. Draft not a huge factor here at Auto Club, but it does help as there's a battle right in front now for Pienza and LeBeau. Side by side through turns 3 and 4. They'll keep it there on the exit. Nearly contact from the inside. Pienta with the advantage into turn number 1, but he's going to get pinched. He's going to do the pinching of the 26. Now finally clear of that Wonder Bread machine. Back up towards the front, though. Johnny Rapp has fallen out of that second place position. Ellis Thomas will assume it as he's battling now with the 58 on the inside. Justin Wilson there. Wilson makes a dive to the inside. Thomas sends it way high on the racetrack there. He'll get the momentum. We'll see if he performs the switchback maneuver here coming into turn number 3. Wilson's going to protect that inside line. Smart move by the 58. Force Thomas to stay on the outside and use up those tires. Johnny Rapp looking to take the inside now on Thomas and put himself back here in the top 3 position. Luis has now entered the top 10 once more. Further back, the 80 of Rob Liedl, who we just talked to last time on that caution, has fallen from that 20 spots gain, just back down to 8 now for Liedl. Still not a bad race by any means. Teammate Jake Mackey right in front of him here. Let's see if those two can get hooked up and make any sort of a move towards the top 10. Mackey in that Mythic Metals Ford Mustang. Pretty sure that 13 changes paint schemes every other week. Back up towards the front. Levi Cox was able to make a move on the inside of Johnny Rapp there in turn number 1. Take it back here to the overcut instant replay. See how that worked out for the 54 machine coming across the start-finish line. Here's where the planning starts. Gets down close to that apron, stays on the inside of the 52, and just able to send it a little bit further into turn number 1 to complete that pass. Fantastic move by Levi Cox. Thomas still hanging it out there on the outside line. Using up all of those tires for what it's worth. Justin Wilson in second, Brian Brobst still leading the way here in the back half of this race. We are inside 20 to go. Never short of action here on Wednesday nights with the Spark Racing League and the Pocket Crew Chief Winter Series. Don't forget to head down to the video description and make your votes for your Team Goon Squad Fans Choice Award. Voting open all season long. That award will be presented at the end of our 10 race schedule. You can vote every week, I believe, who your favorite driver is, or you could even basically just go off your favorite paint scheme. It doesn't matter. Just make sure you go click that link and put your votes in. Battle is on for fourth. Cox looks to get in here. Apologize, that's for second. That was a lap car up ahead. Cox looking to get around the 58 of Wilson. Going to take a look to the inside here, coming down the back stretch. He'll get to that rear quarter panel of the 58 machine, take the inside line through turns 3 and 4. Door to door. Right on that bottom seam, coming out of 4. Who's it going to be? And it's Wilson. For the moment, Ooh, that was a close one across the line. Looks like we have a couple takers now down pit road. Evan Pienza, Dylan LeBeau are making a visit after a 41 lap stint. James Danforth on the same strategy here in the 88. See if he'll bring it down here for fuel stop. Looks like LeBeau is electing to take tires. Looks like right side only for the 26. And Pienza gonna take a full set here as well. Back up towards the front. Levi Cox, Justin Wilson have both caught up to Brian Brobst, and now Cox to the inside. And he'll get around Brobst, slide up in front of the 11, and regain the lead here.
So it'll be interesting to see if all these ones that's waited to come down for tires, the distance that they've come from a deficit pitting while these other guys under green, see if they can overcome that.
It's going to be a tough road ahead. Caution would be in their favor, depending on where they can get back to here. Looks like we've got a couple that have brought it down in recent laps. Chris Smith has made a visit. LeBeau, Pienza, Sampson has made a visit. Danforth did bring it down. Sean Mulholland in the 39 has brought it down. Chris French, David Hill was about 10 laps ago. But first through 12, they had last visited anywhere from 21 to 28 laps ago. From our knowledge, they should be able to make it to the end of this race on fuel at least. Check back in here with the 15 of DeWeese, who's currently sitting in the 8th spot. Not the recovery he was looking for here, but he still has some time. We're nearly 10 to go in just a few laps. See if that 15 machine can mount the comeback that he needs. Johnny Rapp back to the 5th place position. Battle's still on for first place. Cox leading the way. Wilson right behind. Previous leader Brian Brobst sitting in 3rd. Cox doing everything he can to break the draft across the front stretch. He does not want Wilson to get any sort of a run into turn number 1. Another driver making their way out of pit road now. I believe that's the 42 of Paul Thomas there. It is. Johnny Rapp has caught up to the 8 machine of Thomas. Now has that 42 to contend with as well in turn number 1. Would be a good passing opportunity here for the 52. You have to take into account, like Liedl said in that interview, that dirty air is a big factor here. As the 28 sends it around the inside on those fresh tires. Chris Smith, 1 lap down right now. And a few more cars to make it around here before he can unlap himself. Be in a good position if that yellow flag comes out. 32 of Thomas stays high. There's the 11 of Brobst staying high. Ooh, drops down right in front of the lap traffic. Knocks out just a little bit over a 1/4 of a second, right at that number there. 28 still on a tear through the field, 1 car to go to unlap himself back to the lead lap. There it is, pass completed. Smith finally back on the same lap as our leaders. Will need a caution though if he wants to contend for a win. Goes the 55 of Pienza looking to do the same. Ooh, nearly contact there with Wilson. It's a no factor for the 58 machine. He's going to let him by. 54 does the same there through turn 1 and 2. Pienta looking to catch up with Smith now. Lap traffic putting some dirty air on the nose of some of these leaders here. Definitely affecting the way these cars drive. Mike Cox will take the inside. I'll give LeBeau the outside line and hopefully well clear of the 54 machine. A little bit further back, Johnny Rapp was able to get around the 8 of Thomas. Thomas is not going to let it go easily though. Stays within striking distance of Johnny. That 52 Mission Barbecue Chevy Camaro. That's one thing I can say, Cam, is we've got a lot of fluctuation through the field. Got a couple Supras, Toyota Supras here in the field. Lots of Ford Mustangs in the field. Lots of Chevy Camaros. There's a decent variety out here on these Wednesday nights.
Yeah, I know some of these drivers have got their own brands that they're all partial to. Some of them just likes the different schemes. It all depends on what they like to run.
Yenta's still trying to catch up with that other recently unlapped car, Chris Smith. They are catching the back end of the lead pack here, though. About 10 seconds back where they were 30 seconds back laps ago. Right now, it's all about the 54. With over a half a second over second place, Justin Wilson. It's looking to be very much in favor for Levi Cox here tonight. As this time by will bring us to 5 to go. Here for the Vitesse Systems 162.
Keeping an eye on those drivers that just came down and got tires. It looks like they're all running about a second quicker than all these leaders.
Won't be enough to get back up towards the front. The first driver being Chris Smith is 35 seconds back from our leader. 5 laps to go, 1 second a lap is not going to help. Could have been a worse points day for that team there. But right now, the 46 of Chase Berry in a heated battle with the 94 or the 9, however you want to look at it, of Peter Stewart for the 6th place position. Now looking to the inside of Ellis Thomas, who's fallen out of the top 3. Back to 6th place, Berry takes the top 5 position away. Back up at the, a little bit further ahead rather. Johnny Rapp in the 52s closed the gap to 3rd place, looking to take away a podium position here from Brian Brobst in that 11 machine. His pace has fallen off quite a bit. Rapp 0.2 of a second faster last time by. This time by be 1/10 of a second difference between the 11 and the 52. That gap is closing. Will it be enough for the 52 of Rapp to make way into a podium position here as Levi Cox continues to lead? '87 of Clay Sampson right in front, able to pick up some of the draft there down the back stretch. Gap between first and second is also closing. It's not quite as fast as the battle behind. Johnny Rapp all over the back bumper now of the 11. We are now 2 to go here at Auto Club. the opportunity that Rapp needs. If he can get to the inside of the 11, that position could pretty well be his. And he sticks right on the back bumper. Rapp keeping that move in the back pocket here for the last lap of the race, as Levi Cox will come around and take the white flag. It is official from here on. Anything that happens, it doesn't matter. White flag in the air. Cox with a dominating lead, nearly 3/4 of a second over Justin Wilson. Just has the back stretch in 2 more corners before he is the winner here. Can he make it back-to-back and be our first repeat winner of the season? The 54 into turn 3 and 4. Coming around turn number 4. And there it is. Levi Cox taking home the Vitesse Systems 162. And a big hit back here for the 52 and the 11 out of turn number 4. Have to take that back on the replay there. That was quite something. Braxton DeWeese able to sneak back into a top 7 position. Let's take it back here on the replay. I know we still have some cars turning laps. What happened to the 11 and the 52? Rapp still behind here coming out of turn number 2. Down the backstretch, gets the advantage on the outside line of Bryan Brobst. Has the position here. It's got to be on the exit. Oh, just contact from behind. Sends them both sideways across the infield. Big contact with the pit wall barrier. But if you take it back just a little bit here, you see right there is the start-finish line. And Bryan Brobst collects that position there for a top 3 finish over Johnny Rapp. As Levi Cox burns it down here across the front stretch, taking home his 2nd win of the Pocket Crew Chief Winter Series. Back-to-back weeks. Well, with the bye week in between, of course, but Cox the winner in the cornfields of Iowa, and now out here in Southern California, and not be upset with that finish whatsoever. We'll take a quick commercial break here. Then we'll be right back for our post-race coverage of the Vitesse Systems 162. We'll get back with our results and interviews with our top 3. Stick around.
Hey partner, I'm Barry, your Pocket Crew Chief, the very first AI-powered mechanic for sim racing. Got a car that's a little loose or tight? Just tell me how it's handling, and I'll whip up instant setup recommendations just for you. Want me to get even more precise? Snap a picture of your setup and I'll fine-tune it to perfection. And hey, I'm not just about giving orders. I'll explain why every adjustment matters so you can really understand your ride. I'll even teach you the science behind the setup. Ever wonder why the track bar is so important? I've got the answer. With Pocket Crew Chief, I'll make you smarter, faster, and race ready. So what are we waiting for? Let's build to win.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
And we're back live for our post race coverage of the Vitesse Systems 162, the Spark Racing League Pocket Crew Chief Winter Series. Get right down to business here with our results. Then we'll follow up with our interviews of our top three. 3 cautions on the night, 14 lead changes in total. Levi Cox taking home win number 2 on the season, followed up by Daytona winner Justin Wilson. Brian Brobst will collect a top 3 position here tonight after beating Johnny Rapp sideways across the infield there to the finish line. Chase Berry in the 46 up 22 positions on the night, taking home a top 5 spot, followed up by newcomer Peter Stewart in the 94 or the 9 on track. Braxton DeWeese led a handful of laps there to start out the race, ultimately fell out of the top 10 on a pit cycle, but able to recover back to a 7th place finish. Jake Mackey, another big mover on the night, up 20 positions, finishing here in the 8th spot for the 13 team, followed by teammate Rob Liedl in the 80. And last but not least, in our top 10, we've got the 99 of Tom Lickert.
In 11th, we got the 28 of Chris Smith after coming down from a late pit stop. In 12th, we got the 55 of Evan Pienta, followed by 26 of Dylan LeBeau, and 13th, the 87 of Clay Sampson, and 14th, followed by James Dansworth in the 88 and 15th, the 8 of Ellis Thomas in 16th, 39 of Sean Mulholland in 17th, Nathan Gentry in the number 4, 18th, 42 of Paul Thomas in 19th, and to finish out the top 20 is number 5 of Robert Brobst.
Looks like we've got a little bit of a discrepancy there between our statistics,
Oh.
Cam, but no worries at all. Continue on here. Not sure whose is right, but we'll roll with it. To finish out our field here, we've got the 53 of Chris French taking home a 21st position here. Finished 10 laps down on the race, followed by the 43 of David Hill down 14 laps. Max Cost unable to finish the race due to some damage. 43 laps down in the 23rd position. Jacob Bradley, who we saw caught up in a big one there, 57 laps down. Charles Wembley takes the 25th position, also 57 laps down. Rye Jones with an early exit as well. Steve Best will take home the 27th spot. Jay Heichman, I don't recall seeing on the field, collecting 28th position points. And last but not least, the 00 of AJ Maglio. Again, I don't recall seeing on the field tonight. A little bit of a start and park action from a couple of those drivers. Just here to collect some points where it's necessary. But we'll move right into our 3rd place finisher here on the night, Brian Brobst. Get him up here in the V-Speed booth and have a word with that 11 machine. Brian, you've got Cam and Logan up here in the V-Speed booth. You got a copy, buddy?
Yes, sir.
Well, man, that was quite the finish there. Side by side, sideways across the infield with Johnny Rapp. Overall, a fantastic race for you. 9 laps led on the night. You started out there in 13th and collected 10 positions. Just
Yeah,
give
I'll
me a...
take it. I didn't mean to get into Johnny. I already apologized to him. I was like, I'll try to like, do a side draft and then like go right to the apron and got a little too much contact. So I was trying to shove him across the I was trying to shove him to the finish. Like no, no, no. But it's all good. First time on a podium. I don't know who to think. Let's see.
Well, we'll get to
But
that in just a second. Let's ask about the rest of the race. Like I said, you had the 9 laps led, so we saw you up there in the lead. You're pretty well up there in the top 5 for over half the race at least. How was that
yeah, I'm
car
pretty.
driving in, how was the track treating you tonight?
Well, the first half of the race, I was running the bottom trying to save tires, and my cousin Robert, he was on the outside, and he made he made some moves up. I mean, he got up to the top 5, and we went into pits, and our tires were almost the same. So I was like, all right, on the lap 20, lap 30, wherever the caution was, I just went on the outside and made some moves, got up to the top 5, and And then there was a caution. We just put just enough for fuel, and I was like, well, I'm gonna take a chance. I'm gonna put tires on now, and hopefully it goes green the rest of the way. And it did. I just did not save enough tires.
You
Got
know,
up there, but I used it up a little bit too much.
it happens sometime, but hey, like you said, first podium on the season. You can't be unhappy with a third place finish. Ryan, is there anybody you'd like to, now that you've got a second to think about it, anybody that you'd like to thank here for a third place finish tonight for the 11 team?
I'd like to thank you for putting on the show. Pocket Crew Chief Winter Series, Evan Pienta, Overcut, R&B Designs, and Goons Squad.
Awesome. Well, thank you for your time, Brian. We will see you next week. Honestly,
Alrighty,
I forget
thank
where
you.
we're at next week.
I have no idea. I usually just get on like 20 minutes before and find out.
Ah, it's Darlington next week. That's right, the
Oh
Crown
boy.
Jewel race, the throwback race. So we'll see what you have in store for us on that 11 car next week.
Well, Darlington, you won't see me on the podium, but I'll try my best.
Well, good luck, buddy, and great race tonight.
All right, man. Thank you.
Third place finisher Brian Brobst there in that 11 car. And we'll move right on down now to our second place finisher, who believe Cam standing by with Justin Wilson now.
Justin, this is Cam and Logan in the booth. You got us?
Yeah, we got you.
Hey, it looks like you picked up 7 spots from where you started. With the tires becoming a premium throughout the race, how did it fare? Seen that you kind of started kind of mid-pack and then brought it all the way to the front.
Oh, I just kind of got lucky with the way things played out. We didn't have speed at all night, so I decided to play the tire strategy game, and we actually saved a set anticipating a caution at the end. So what we did is on that first pit, when everybody pitted, we just came in, topped off our fuel, and just saved that set of tires. Which when that kind of caution came out after the fact is when I took them, and it worked out because then again we were just faster than 95% of the field at that point. So just kind of just played strategy since I knew we couldn't find the pace.
Yeah, it looks like you chose right on your pit strategy because some of those later guys, they came in and they couldn't make it up through the fields once this is all said and done. Is there anyone you would like to thank before we let you go?
Yeah, thank you guys for the show on. Thank you, Spark, for letting us race on Wednesday. It's really the only night of the race, only night of the week, man, that I raced. So it's pretty good, pretty fun, relaxing. Thank Johnny, Randy, Race Control, Chase, Dylan LeBeau, Ryan Jones as well. He had a pretty bad crash. So I want to thank those guys, and we'll try again next week.
All right. I guess we'll see you next week. Thank you for the interview, and we'll talk to you later.
All right, man. Have a good one.
All right, that was our.
Go ahead, Cam.
Go ahead. Oh, I said that was our second place, Justin Wilson. Looks like Logan's got our winner tonight in the 54 of Levi Cox.
Yeah, I've got Levi Cox down here on the top step of the podium, 15 laps led and 7 positions gained on the night. Levi, back-to-back wins here in the Pocket Crew Chief Winter Series. Got to be happy about that.
For sure. Going into getting married and coming out of getting married. We'll take it.
Hey, nothing wrong with that. I forgot about that last week, man. Congratulations once more on that. And of
Thank you.
course,
Thank you.
might as well surround it with a couple Wednesday night wins here. This should put you in a very good spot going into next week in the point standing. I believe possibly even taking over the top step of the points. But overall, a fantastic race for you here tonight. What do we have in store for the 54 team coming next week to Darlington for the throwback race?
I'll have to work on a paint design. I'm not very good at doing those. I try to make all of them custom and just do. My brother is a sponsor, but as far as the track goes, Darlington is one of my favorite tracks to drive and one of my best tracks. So I'm really hoping to make it 3 in a row. That would be really cool.
would be a sight to see. Being the first repeat winner, you might as well make a streak of it going into the back half of the schedule. Race number 5 next week, that is. Levi, is any notable moments here throughout the race for you that you'd like to touch base on?
For sure, coming down pit road, I think it was that first caution. Ellis was just going a little bit slower, so I followed the car in front of me, and then sure enough, Ellis had to pit before me, so he turned me and had to start from the back there, and that was no fun. And then I got into Chris French coming up off of 4 going down the straightaway. Had a big run and didn't want to stall it out behind the car on the high side, so I tried to squeeze him down just a little bit and kind of got connected with some iRacing stuff there, and then got off each other, and then trying to save it, we just hit again. So apologies to Chris. He's a good racer, clean racer, and didn't mean to do that.
Well, rubbing is racing, and we'll get a lot of that next week at Darlington. But Levi, for the second race in a row, is there anybody you'd like to say thanks to for this win here tonight?
Yes, thank you guys for the broadcast at V-Speed, Pocket Crew Chief for sponsoring the series, Evan Pienta Designs. Shout out to my brother, Cody Glenn Cox Music on Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok. Shout out to my now wife, Morgan, for letting me do this, and just all the people who tuned in to watch, Jennifer and Bill and Mandy and hopefully Toby and Craig. So had a good little crowd tonight. It was nice having them tune in.
Absolutely correct about that. But Levi, congratulations on your second win of the season. We'll see you next week at Darlington.
Thank you very much. You guys have a great night, and thank you.
That concludes our interviews there for the night. Now, Cam, is there anything that stood out to you tonight that you just kind of want to touch base on or anything like that?
Well, it kind of shocked me, to be frankly honest, that, like we would talk about going into the race, that maybe when we actually had opportunities to take tires, I know they had limited sets, but as we saw those last guys that came in late, that was setting the set for, in case of an extra caution was going to come out there before the end. It just never came. It was such clean racing. It just kind of shocked me that some of the strategy went out that way. That, like I said, tires were kind of a premium tonight, so that kind of stood out to me quite a bit.
You pretty well hit all the notes that I had in my head, but it's just overall another fantastic race here in the Vitesse Systems 162 with the Spark Racing League. Next week, we have Darlington. For now, if you enjoyed tonight's coverage, be sure to like and subscribe so you never miss another race. For everybody behind the scenes at Spark and for everybody behind the scenes at V-Speed, Adam Baker, Bradley Cooper, Eddie Smith, Morgan Cook, my special guest tonight, Cam Gillen. I've been Logan Threlkeld. We'll see you at Darlington for the Crown Jewel throwback race. Make sure you tune in if you're a fan of those throwback schemes. You don't want to miss it. Good night, everybody.